This is my gnosis of King Solomon and the split of Solomon's nation and the split of Israel. Solomon was the first, and I've talked about this in another video. Solomon was the first of the Israelites who at this time were melanated. They had shades, all different shades of melanin. But Solomon really was the progenitor or slash the catalyst for real colorism within that nation. Solomon had a real proclivity and profligacy with having promiscuity. He had many consorts, and he really liked women who lacked melanin, who had no melanin. The reason why the split happened is because the women that had no melanin were, and the Israelites remembered, were Nephilim. They came from Nephilim. At this time, for thousands of years, there were no Caucasians anywhere. When the Israelites left Egypt and they exodus from Greece as well, and they congregated in the Middle East and in the mountains and around Palestine, they were told, or Moses told them, to go back and slaughter those people, who were also amongst them were other Israelites as well, melanated people as well, but they were doing pagan worship, were sacrificing their children every whatever it was to Baal, which was the progenitor of the homunculi race of the Caucasians. So when that didn't happen, a lot of the Israelites remembered their story and didn't forget. And King Solomon was very controversial. It wasn't online and in Google. If you search why the kingdom was split, they're going to talk about taxes. That's bullshit. That was a part of it, but that wasn't it. The reason why the kingdom and the nation was split is because of King Solomon's debauchery and his willfulness and his willingness to allow a different nation, the Canaanite nation, but at the time it was just the, let's say, Caucasians, who were pagan worshippers, and they were allowed in the King Solomon's and Israel's midst in their nation, and they were able to excel in the ranks. And King Solomon allowed this because of his profligacy and wanting to entertain melanin deficient women. This caused the split between, and making the nation between the nation of Judah and the nation of Israel. And where King Solomon got his knowledge, a lot of his knowledge in terms of demonology and sigil work, in terms of trapping demons, he got that from the Caucasians. How? Because the Caucasians were worshiping Baal. The Baal worshiping Canaanites, they knew where they descended from. Not all of them, but at that time, a lot of them knew where they came from and knew how to call and portal demons. And they taught Solomon how to do this. And Solomon used this to invoke more power over the nation of Israel. And that is what caused the split. His profligacy and his demon worship, his demonology and his studying of demons was very controversial and taboo for the Israelites. So when their nation split, the nation of Israel left eventually and kind of scattered into Greece and then went down into also Egypt. While the nation of Judah remained with King Solomon, that nation of Palestine, or I should say the country of Palestine, became lighter and lighter and lighter as people invaded, as melanin deficient women as consorts and then as wives became more normalized. And this was very much a political tactic and a scheme of the Canaanites or the melanin deficient to excel within their ranks. And this is something that they have been doing as Caucasians or melanin deficient people since their inception. They've done this. They've done this in Rome twice. They've done this in Greece twice. They've done this in Egypt like 3 times. And they did that in Palestine. And that's how that whole nation became essentially whitewashed. And that's why a lot of melanin deficient people in Israel claim Judaism, who are part of the debaucherous principalities. They understand where they come from. And they know that it was a tactic and a plot to subvert Shem's bloodline. They infiltrated Shem's bloodline. They know they don't come from that. You know that they don't come from that because they'll use words like Baal as mother, as father, and Lord, and master, and then put Shem after it, like Baal Shem Tov. A rabbi is named this. They know what they're doing. Baal was explicitly the pagan deity that was at the time of the Canaanites and Moses, in which the Israelites were told to slaughter. And the language of Hebrew is a nuanced language. Cuneiform, or the writing of Hebrew, is very new. And it's also very occult. They know what they're doing. They intentionally subverted Shem's bloodline, knowing that King Solomon, or Solomon, had a profligacy and a predilection to melanin deficient women. And this is the generational curse, one of the generational curses of Israel. Colorism. Absolute colorism.